Hello Sofa Squad. So today we're going to be talking about a missing 21-year-old Texas State University student who's been missing since December 13th, 2020. Now, as we have seen with so many of these cases, this is another one that is just bizarre, and it seems like this person, this young man, just disappeared into thin air. So Texas State University apparently has like a really prestigious sound recording technology program, and the gentleman we're talking about, his name is Jason Landry. Now, Jason's goal was to eventually get into this program, get accepted, and he had just finished his first semester at Texas State University. Now, he was planning on going home for Christmas break, and he was going to be leaving San Marcos, where Texas State University is, and he was going to be headed back home to visit his parents. Now, home was in Missouri City, Texas, which is like a 2 to 3 hour drive. Now, sadly, he would never make it, and there has been some just very odd things, in my opinion, surrounding this situation, and we're going to talk about those. This also, this had me going to Google Maps, Earth Maps. I'm going to show you some of that stuff because there's so many things that do not make sense in this case. So what I want to do here is just bring awareness to, who Jason Landry is, what the details of the case are, and obviously put out information if somebody, knows anything about this that can be contacted to help bring Jason home. Okay, so Jason left his place in San Marcos, Texas, like about 10:55 p.m. on December 13th. Now, just after midnight on December 14th, a volunteer firefighter would drive by and find Jason's car wrecked, and he would see this. This was on Salt Flat Road in Luling, Texas. Now, even stranger, the lights were still on in the car, the keys were in the ignition, the passenger door was locked, but Jason was nowhere to be found. Now, they would also go on to find like his cell phone in the car and some other things that we're going to talk about as well, some possessions that were near the car that make you just sit here and say, huh? But once authorities, the sheriff and whoever, was able to get access to like his computer and his cell phone, they were able to put together a timeline. And this is where you're just like, where is this guy? What happened to Jason Landry? So what I'm going to do now is just read through this timeline so we can kind of follow his path along where things might have gone wrong for him. Okay, so December 13th, 10:55 p.m., Jason leaves the apartment in San Marcos. He's headed back home to Missouri, Texas. So 11:05 p.m., he drives his vehicle onto Highway 80 and he passes under I-35. This is still in San Marcos. At 11:07 p.m., he continues south on Highway 80 and he enters into Caldwell County. At 11:11 p.m., he is in Martindale, Texas. He's still headed south on 80 at this point. 11:15 p.m., he passes over the SH-130 on Highway 80. Now, this next part is where it starts to get like, okay, something's happened here. So 11:24 p.m., so like 9 minutes later, Jason enters Luling, Texas on Highway 80. He stops using the Waze app. That's what he was using for his directions, and he opens up Snapchat. Now, he goes to the intersection of Magnolia Avenue and East Austin, and that is where they say his digital footprint stopped. Now, what they think happened is that he continued on East Austin to Spruce Street, which then turned into Salt Flat Road. So the direction that he was taking at that point was the opposite direction headed to his house. Or he was going way out of his way. What it looks like and appears to happen is that he, took a wrong turn or missed a turn, and so he went the wrong way. And so he was going out into the middle of nowhere. This is where I started tracing the route. And again, I don't have his exact driving directions or whatever, but I was just looking at, okay, where are they saying he goes with his timeline? And it does show, and I'll put it up here on the screen, where he should have turned onto one of these streets, but instead he basically headed north. And so he's like headed away from the direction he would go to his parents' house. So that part is very interesting to me. Why did he do that? How far did he go? Was there any other reason he was going that way? It doesn't seem like there was. Okay, so then just a little while later, 67 minutes later, this is what happens. At 12:31 a.m., Jason's wrecked vehicle is found on Salt Flat Road. The investigators say it was a single vehicle collision. It most likely came from overcorrecting on the gravel road. He spun off the roadway and then crashed the rear end into a tree. So there's that last digital footprint that took place, which was 11:24 p.m. December 13th. That is where he seemingly, starts going in a different direction or something. So then you have the 12:31 a.m. discovery of his car. So there's like this window of, okay, well, what happened? Where is he, number one? Okay, now remember, they found his phone, like I said earlier. They found it between the car seat and like the center console. It was on, it had a signal, it was working. So they're trying to figure out, okay, well, why? I mean, these are the questions that come up. Why did it stop at that intersection back there? Like, why wasn't the phone, why did it go away? Because clearly he kept driving. Secondly, what happened to, why did he keep going that way? And once this, whatever happened to him happened, why did he not use the phone to call for help? That part is really strange to me. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. So troopers arrived, to the scene when people were called in, and these are some of the things that they found. They found his ball cap, they found toiletries, they found a tumbler that apparently had like his, he had a betta fish that, didn't make it to the crash, obviously. They also found his backpack. It had a small amount of marijuana in it. Now, apparently there was some stuff going around about like he had this boatload of stuff like that, and authorities are saying in this release, no, it was a tiny little amount. Yeah, we confiscated it, obviously, but no, that's not true. That was the only thing that was found in regards to substances such as that. Now, in the backpack, they also found his laptop and gaming equipment. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. So Jason's dad gets to the scene like a couple hours later, and Jason's dad makes a discovery as well near the wreck, about 900 feet away. Father would find Jason's clothes, including a shirt, shorts, underwear, and a wristwatch. Now, these were scattered on the roadway, like I said, about 900 feet from the crash. Now, they were able to recover photos from earlier in that evening, and number one, they showed Jason wearing the same shirt that they found, the same ball cap that they found, but they also show a happy, good-spirited Jason. This didn't seem to be someone in distress. Everything seemed to be rather fine. So, it wasn't like these were sketchy pictures or whatever. Now, authorities have said, look, we have found no blood evidence in the car, so there's none of that. There's no evidence that would show us that he was like going that way to go meet somebody. So, there's that. Now, they also say that there's no evidence to suggest that like an unknown person or person of interest or whatever, had anything to do with this so far. Now, they've also been viewing, hours and hours and hours of security tapes and stuff like that from like in and around the Loling area, and that hasn't turned up anything either. Now, in December, when this took place, obviously, authorities came together, they did all these searches, and some of the things that they did trying to find him at that time were, they used cadaver dogs, they drained a nearby pond, they searched an abandoned home near the crash, but they have still not found any sign of Landry. So here's my thing with this situation. Now, this is allegedly street. This is me trying to just think here. Again, going on base what authorities have said, looking at the wreckage pictures, things of this nature. Part of me wonders, did he hit his head? Like, in the wreck, did he do something that caused him to not be completely aware of what was going on? And so almost like he hit his head, he was distressed, and he started walking. It looks like there's a bunch of nothing out there. So I'm like, well, what if he wandered off? Well, then it's like, okay, well, we brought dogs out. We've searched the area. Now, we know a lot of times that can't be perfect. They could go overlooking something. Or what if he wandered off and found someone's house but didn't know who he was? Meaning Jason, something that happened to him and he was unsure of who he was. Now, another part that I think is really odd is the fact that he took his clothes off. It reminds me of the incident with the Russian hikers, with the camp. I can't remember the name of it right now. Drop it in the comments if you know. But, with the hypothermia setting in, and this is a thing that people will do where they'll take their clothes off. So that made me think that right away, where I was like, well, maybe something was going on with that. So I found that odd. Now, as far as the phone between the seat and everything, part of me was thinking, well, maybe he dropped his phone. He turned ways off. He opened Snapchat. He drops the phone, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep going this way for whatever reason, and he was going to stop somewhere or whatever to get the phone. But again, it looks like it was so out of the way. I'm like, wouldn't you have stopped to have gotten the phone out from under the seat? Or did the phone simply fall in there during the wreck? Because that's what made me wonder, maybe, his phone fell in between the thing and he was driving and then something happened, he overcorrected and he got in the wreck, and just couldn't find the phone and he was, wandering off. Myself, I got in a wreck one time. Somebody came and side hit my car. So this is completely different kind of a wreck. But even just that little bit, and it totaled the car, but it wasn't a direct impact on me. But I hit my head, it knocked me out. And I was disoriented disoriented. So I'm thinking, you know what, it doesn't take much to make someone completely disoriented. Now, my fear for him is obviously if some kind of foul play happened. I mean, we don't know. So far, evidence doesn't point to that. But also with, you know, the cold weather and, you know, so on and so forth, is that he's been gone for 2 months. So it really just makes me wonder, you know, did he encounter someone out there that evening that, you know, maybe ran him off the road and then kept going? You know, did he wander off after being harmed and, you know, wasn't aware of who he was and still isn't and is just somewhere? You know, I don't know. But regardless, he is missing. He is still missing. I'm going to put all the stuff that you can contact if you have any information on this at all. The authorities that you can contact and whatnot. You've seen his picture. Again, this was in Texas. And so my heart goes out to the family and to Jason. I hope he comes home safe. I hope this was just some kind of bizarre thing and he is able to return to his family safe and sound and in one piece. I appreciate everybody watching. If you want to see more stuff from me about true crime and whatnot, just click some of the playlists that are popping up here. Thank you to everybody who makes this channel possible, and I'll talk to y'all next time.